Mic check one. And for the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Sanchez, Commissioner Santos. Commissioner Limchaco is on his way in. He's running a little late. And Commissioner Guthridge knows, and I think she's just maybe running a little late, but she knows. Let's get started. This is just issues for decision for our next meeting. Miguel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first issue for decision is Resolution 31, FY 2020, and this is a reallocation of bond proceeds from the 2010, 2013, and 2016 bond issuances. One of the things that we have to do to satisfy the PUC rate order is to do this reallocation and make sure that we're spending
on the money,
utilizing all of the old bond money that may be left over in each one of the CIP line items. So this resolution presents a summary of all three of these previous bond issuances and the amounts that will be reallocated from certain CIP line items and then consolidated in certain other CIP line items, mostly to advance projects that are related to the rate case PUC order requiring us to advance the water loss control projects, and then also to apply to consent decree projects, upcoming consent decree projects. So the total cost there's three different bond issuances, so it's about $783,000 that will be reallocated from the 2010 bonds, $1.06 million from the 2013 bonds, and then $2.7 million from the 2016 bonds. So that's a total of about $4.5 million that we will reallocate from all these leftover CIP line items to a few updated CIP line items. And the exhibits, Exhibit D, and Exhibit F, show you which projects we're reducing funding from. Those would be in the yellow highlighted cells, and which projects those funds are going into. Those will be the blue highlighted cells for each bond issuance.
Okay. Does this finish off the money from 2010?
It just about does. You will notice that there will still be line items that have projects that still have money associated with it. There are, in all three issuances, for the earlier ones, for example, the Brigade Booster Pump Station project still has, I think, 2010 bond money in it. That project is still ongoing. We've had some delays with the property acquisition and that sort of thing. So we still have those ongoing projects which have funding which we intend to use. If that's the case, we'll leave the funding in place. It's the ones that are left over, either the project has been closed out or there was a contingency that wasn't used. Those small amounts are being aggregated and then transferred into current project.
Okay.
And then for the 2016 bonds, I think there's still a large part of the bonds, existing bonds that projects are ongoing, specifically the tank projects for the court order and so on.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you. Miguel, just quickly, I've heard for many years, always wanted to do the guam water treatment intake. We've always wanted to do it. When there's heavy rain, for example, that becomes a challenge for us to receive the water that we end up.
So right now we are trying to put together an updated CIP project for UGM that may be split into phases. The intake part, currently there is no flow control on the small dam that we have there to make sure enough water in the intake to allow for continuous operation during drier periods, and then also to allow for the minimum water to flow that is required downstream the Army Corps of Engineer requirements. So the intake project envisions at this point some maintenance dredging of that area where the intake is, either moving or reinforcing the intake structure to be more robust and to allow for easier maintenance for the crew. Right now, when it gets stormy or when there's a lot of debris, it's pretty dangerous for the guys to get out to the intake to try and clear it, trying to alleviate that. And then also to provide for the future, this might be the later phase of it, but reinforcing the dam and putting in a sluice gate to make sure that we can maintain as much water at the intake as possible, but still allow the minimum required to.
Project long overdue that we wanted to start working.
Right, and again, along with the water loss control projects, this is not something that's been a regulatory requirement, so it's kind of not been at the top of our priority list. We've got bigger fish to fry at the moment, so it probably didn't get.
Now we can fry these fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, next item, Miguel.
Next item's Resolution 32 FY 2020, which is seeking additional funding for CM services for some of the tank projects that we have, the Santa Rosa, Sanifa, and Santa Rita tank projects. This resolution seeks to add an additional $337,000 for the CM services. Because we've experienced some delays, the construction and the CM work has started, but we've experienced some delays, partly due to archaeological issues and partly due to shutdown during the pandemic, delaying the permitting. And so right now, because we awarded the CM project before, I think we awarded the construction contract, the completion dates aren't necessarily aligned contractually. So now that we're both contracts are awarded, and we are over the delay, we're realigning the completion dates, and we want to adjust the CM contract to match how long we need them on the jobs to match the construction contract date. So the change order is a result of that effort, and it's $337,000. I think we have some contingency, so requesting an additional about $40,000 to supplement the contingency to allow us to align those completion dates on both contracts.
Okay, when we approve those contracts, you always put in a 10% contingency, right?
Yes,
So you're saying that the 10% you have on all three projects is not quite enough?
right,
You need another 40,000?
right.
Okay, where are you going to get the 40,000?
I think we have sufficient bond funding
Revenue?
under
Oh, bond
PW
funds?
09-11.
Okay, okay. And so these projects, of course, we're going to be delayed in completing the tank projects based on the court order, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, do we notice EPA and the court that we're going to be late?
We're currently working through that.
Okay.
The initial intent, or the initial idea that we were discussing with US EPA is that we would send a letter, and EPA would concur with it. However, at that point, over 9 months ago, I think, when we had this first discussion, actually more closer to a year. Department of Justice said that they didn't want us to do that. They wanted us to file something directly with the court. So we did not want to file something with the court until we...
Have an idea?
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't want to tell them we're going to miss the deadline until we have an
You know
idea of
when you're
when
gonna
we could
see it.
meet it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
now that we've completed the bond issuance, we have the funds we need to complete it, we've adjusted the schedules, we have a better idea for a certain date by when we can complete all the projects.
Mhm.
We are drafting that notice to the court. However, now the Department of Justice is saying maybe the way we're doing it is the way the court order envisions you submitting something when you don't agree with the deadline, which is under this dispute provisions of the court order. DOJ is now saying, well, we're not necessarily sure we have a dispute. So their tune has kind of changed. I don't know if it's because there's a change in personnel, but we're trying to work through that to figure out whether we now file something jointly as a stipulated agreement to extend the deadline. So,
Yeah, because when we did the 2011 court order, Simon and I were there, there were things we said, you know, we can't meet these. And so we agreed on some, we couldn't agree on some, and then we left it up to the court and we let her slice the baby. And we said, but we're telling you we can't meet that, and, you know, she picked a date in between.
She
So,
pretty much went, we asked for the extended time. They wanted 2014, we wanted 2021. I think we wanted 21.
I think we wanted
She moved it up
2021.
to 19 or 20.
Yeah,
But and it actually was Judge Manabusen that first carving of the
Yeah.
baby. And she- but
Yeah.
You're right, but, I mean, all of these things we always treated as really mutual agreements
we want to do them,
run by the court,
yeah,
you know, and we will comply, and I think you and all your predecessors did a job of forming them, you're continuing that, always good. It's enhanced. To agreement. And maybe, Mulaney, maybe there's a.
well,
on the
we
DOJ
hope,
side.
we can hope
Well,
that,
I mean, I don't
yeah.
know, we don't know.
We don't know.
We know it was harder with that gentleman,
well,
felt long.
So I think that assessment likely correct at the beginning of the process. I think towards the end, before he departed, there started to be a shift in his
yeah,
assessment of our ability to, and that has been built upon with the new staff. So I think we're heading down the right path in terms of getting them to.
You guys have done a great job of keeping the court in. Those are the three parties that we would
work
keep you
with.
informed and implement your
I work-
court order. And I've done that. We've raised the money. We've raised the rate. But too bad it took certain parties that long to believe that we
Right.
could do it.
And
Yeah.
we've
But
made
as
the
I
point.
said to him in court, I said, I love proving you wrong every day.
No problem, no
So
problem.
we made the point of kind of highlighting that these issues and these delays are for reasons that are outside of our control.
Yeah,
Getting action from the PUC on the rate case specifically enabled us to get the remaining bond funds, right? So we're highlighting that as a reason why with the new agreement, we need to have the ability to modify schedule requirements because of things like this without having to go through a whole huge process, right?
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
we're hoping that this assist in getting us that kind of language.
well, plus, we're proving ourselves. Every time we complete things and we do things, you know,
We've
We're-
proved ourselves. I don't,
yeah, we've proven ourselves.
I don't know what else to say.
Anyway,
Go yell at the
so,
other people that aren't in compliance,
yeah,
all 4,000.
are there any other questions on the resolution itself? No? Okay. Moving right along, Miguel, next
The
resolution.
next issue is Resolution 33 FY 2020, and this is seeking approval to provide additional funding for the design contract for the southern tank project. And again, this is a result of some additional work that is required to continue the tank projects. This is specifically the UGM project has been delayed, as you know, with our property acquisition.
Mhm.
And then when we did acquire the new property and began the design activities, turns out that soils on the site that we were able to acquire require some additional design work to deal with foundation, tile foundation. So that is extra work that we did not anticipate. So the design team required to do additional change order to cover that, along with creation of design meetings, creation of the design period, and this is so the total cost for this change order is $120,000.
Okay.
Additional funding is intended again to come
Water
item
system.
for water system
Okay.
reservoir.
Any questions? Okay, next item.
Next item is Resolution 34 FY 2020, and this is another resolution seeking funds construction management contract for the Route 4 line project that is ongoing under project is for the construction management firm, EMSCO, intended to provide additional funding to both, primarily the second contract, which was rehabilitation of manholes, replacement of some of the lines project. That work originally was scheduled to be completed earlier in the summer. Now, seeing it's going to, we did get out of that major intersection as we said we would by July. But completion is going to run out to September, and we need involvement in it. So this orders for $82,000, which will bring the total cost of that contract touch over $1 million.
Question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Guthrie.
You know, I've been passing by that area. It's creating a lot of traffic. When is it going to be?
The last piece is at the intersection of Route 4 and Route 1 should be done by August. All the construction work should be substantially complete. And we'll final project.
My suggestion is, it's going to be quite frustrating. It'd be nice if let them know that we. My suggestion. Thank you.
Looks like that's.
So that, what we were waiting on was them to the last work, and then we close up. They've done paving, which they've done. I think the weekend or over the holiday they were working on the striping, try and get that done, and once that's done, they'll be able to open up that intersection.
Well, I think they also were doing the sensors.
Yeah.
I noticed that right on that intersection they were doing.
Oh,
Yeah, they're doing the
That's the problem.
sensors.
Green Drive one.
When we dewater the excavation to construction work, that water directly into the storm drain. It's a tank to settle out the
Settle
solids,
the solids
to
and
make
settle
sure
it.
that the silt doesn't go directly out into the storm drain, because that goes right out into
To the
the
ocean.
Canyon Bay.
Great.
All right?
Okay. I just want to make sure on all these you don't have to go to.
I
They're all
believe
court
we do
ordered?
not. This one goes over $1 million, but it's bond funded, so sorry, grant funded, so I. And
Notification.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You just give them a basic.
Yeah, they'll be happy. People will be happy then. The school's going to be starting in that area, you know. Academy and
Any other questions? No? I think that's your last resolution, right? That's your last
That's
resolution?
the last. We have one more on the agenda, but I don't think we're ready.
Okay. For next. Now, just as a reminder, for the record, by the way. Just as a reminder for commissioners as well, but you're going to be bringing us the budget in August or September? August. That's when we start looking at. Okay, So just so that we know that at the next work session, that's when we will look at.
We have to. We meet with them and then just.
And then bring it to the working session. No, they'll bring it to us in the August. They'll do it before the working session for August. But I'm just reminding them that they have to bring it to us in the August working. They'll do. Okay. We went through the issues for decision. They're fairly cut and dry unless if you had a chance. Next is the GM summary.
Going to the management report, we want to start with giving you an update on where we are with funding bonds. This would be the Series 2020B bonds. We already have pursue the refunding. As you recall, when we initial intent was to do them together, but because of market, it only made sense new money issuance, A bonds. So, been informed in the past couple of weeks, marketing, the point where we anticipate we might be able to do the same type of savings that we did prior to. So, in order to take advantage of that, we've moved forward with developing the documents necessary and go with really the drop dead date, pull the triggers when we, so far the market have looked good, talking about an estimated funding par amount of 100 million. As of July 6th, based on the latest market, estimated present value savings million. It's all in. Really hope to provide us, depending on the that we finalize, the debt service savings. This, of course, will help us revenue tax. So if we're able to debt. So right now, the schedule that we have put together, working diligently to try to get area with you to potential sale on August 12th on Guam time and August 11th thereafter. That's the current schedule. We're on the phone with the team this morning. We will continue throughout the week updating the preliminary official statement draft, and then they go before the rating agency.
But that's when you go before the rating agency, that's just a further up, because you were just
update.
with them.
Yes, right. And the underwriters have contacted the rating agency, and there's an anticipated abbreviated turnaround time to get the ratings from the rating agency. So, trying to give ourselves as much time as possible to us together, shorten the time required for the rating since they have just rated us, then quickly get to market while the conditions are still favorable. So there's a little bit of a summary here. Then I've included on the following 3 pages snapshots of market overview with the city. Full package handed out earlier and is yeah. So essentially, since the disruption caused by COVID-19 pandemic, taxable market has not really been strong enough for us to successfully refund bonds. But recent months, June, that changed and the market recovered and there was a large supply of taxable bond issuance. June, on that third page of that municipal supply page, you'll see on the graph on the bottom right-hand side, about 850% from June of last year, supply of taxable bonds. So that is market for us. Refund and that haven't from the last refunding or from
No,
the
no,
last
from-
new? Last sale was less than point. Sorry? 1.9? That includes theirs. But we're not having to do a consulting engineer's report, so cost, some of the costs couldn't recognize those savings by doing them